Hi everyone, so this is a Flow Pilates class here online today. So if you need a rest, if it feels a little bit too intense, you can always pause and come back in when you're ready. We're just going to try and flow a little bit through each movement. Our focus today will be the core, the glutes, and a little bit into the lower back as well. So we'll start off on the hands and knees position here now to open up the back a little bit. I'm going to work through the breath. So taking a nice deep breath in through the exhale, we're going to push the shoulders up towards the sky, tucking the head and hips under. Try to find the stretched upper back to release the thoracic spine. We're going to hold as we take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to gently work to the lower back stretch as we gently push the lower back down towards the mat, bringing the head and chest up. Find that stretch just in the lower back area, holding as we take a breath in. And as you breathe out, we're working back gently into the upper back, head and hips tucked under, shoulders again just gently pressed towards the sky. Just looking for the stretch point here. As we breathe in, exhale, we'll switch then back into the lower back, holding as we take that breath in. If we exhale and switch again into the upper back one more time, holding the stretch point as we breathe in. Exhale, we work back into the lower back one more time through the breath. And then from there, then we bring it back into the middle position. We sit back into our hips, just into our child's pose, going as far back as we can, comfortably to the stretch point. Round the lower back hip area, arms lengthen. We're just trying to release the lower back, holding the stretch point for a few moments as we take a few breaths in and out to release the lower back area out a little bit. And then from there, we're going to come up into the all four position again. We'll activate a little bit of the lower back muscles here now with our kickback. So the right leg's going to extend back on the mat. Light breath in as we exhale, we're going to float the leg up. Breath in, slowly bring the leg back down. If we can, one toes pointed here. Working from the hip joint as we float the leg up to about hip height. Return slowly under control with the breath. So try and breathe out on the lift. Exhale into the rise, breath in on the return. Do two more on the right side here to control movement. We're just trying to activate the muscles. As the right leg comes back in, resting it on the mat beside the left leg. I'll extend the left leg back out here now, toes pointed on the mat. Breath in, exhale as we lift the hip height, return to release. Again, I'm trying to float the leg up, control the leg back down here. Activating the muscles now on the left side. For a couple more on this one here. And we'll do one more as we lift. And as we come down again, resting the knee back in, just sitting back in to the child's pose for a moment. Try to release the hips and the back a little bit more. And we'll come out of that one there. Back into the hands and knees position here again. Now we're going to try and work opposite arm, opposite leg sequence here. Now just try and challenge a little bit more off the back, the core, a little bit of the shoulders as well. So just doing one side at a time just to activate the muscles around the upper body. Taking a light breath in through the exhale, extend the right leg back behind the body. Left arm at the same time is going to lift away. We're trying to reach away nice and slow. Breath in on the return, reset, and we're going to exhale, work the other side, left leg, extend it back with the right arm, reaching away, breath in as you come back in. Just trying to take our time, going nice and slow with ease. Trying to challenge stability in the center, so we're trying to keep the center nice and still to help activate the core. As you work the limbs away and then control back in. One side at a time. This, reaching away, return to recover. Can take a few extra seconds in between these ones if needed, to see how the body is. We'll do one more on the left arm and right leg. As we come back in again, we're just going to sit back in for a moment in our child's pose. Take the pressure off wrist, shoulder joints. Hands can roll out if the wrists feel a little bit tight. You do loosen them up. And from here, now we're going to come back up into that one, back into hands and knees position. We focus on the right leg and left arm here. So we extend the right leg back, left arm out. We take a breath in through the exhale. We're going to float the arm and leg up as one, and then back down here, working the arm from the shoulder, leg from the hip. They rise together, they float back tight. Ideally, we're trying to go arm, shoulder height, leg, hip height, but it doesn't have to go that high if your mobility is restricted or you feel unbalanced. We can keep the leg and limbs a little bit lower and return just to have that extra bit of support. We're going to do one more here now on the lift. And at the top, we're going to pause. We're going to try and work little circles now through arm and leg together. Challenging a little bit of the balance here. But if it feels a little bit too much, we can keep the legs still, just work the arm circles. Or we can keep the right foot on the mat just to help balance the body if needed. Just little controlled circles from the leg, hip, and the arm from the shoulder. For a few more here, nice and controlled. And we'll pause our circles, bring the arm and leg back in. We'll sit back in to recovery for a few moments here. Releasing again the shoulders, taking away the tension off the body. Recovering the hips. Good. So from here, we're going to come back up. We're going to try the other side now. If we're ready, back into hands knees position. And we'll extend the left leg back here now, right arm extended out. So first movement here, take that breath in. We're going to float the arm and leg up as one, and then back down. Again, it doesn't have to go too far, too high on this one. Ideally, we want that arm to be shoulder height, leg to be hip height at the top of the movement, but we're trying to keep the center nice and still. So we're trying to keep our core activated throughout the movement here. Slowly floating up and down. And our next lift now, we're going to try and hold at the top. We're going to work into our circles through the arm and leg. So again, working from the shoulder, from the hip, nice and controlled circles. If it feels a little bit too much, we can keep that leg still. Just focus on the arm circles, or the left foot can stay on the mat here, just to have that extra bit of balance, and just focus on the arm circles only here. Whatever you feel comfortable you can do. Trying to control the circle from the hip, from the shoulder, nice and slow. And then we'll pause our circle movement here, hand and leg returning. And once again, we'll back into recovery. And the hands again can roll out if the wrists feel a little bit tense or tight from the holding position there. Good. So from here now, we're going to come out of that one. We're going to work ourselves a little bit into our lower back for a little bit of sequence. So we're going to bring ourselves down into our prone position. We're lying down on the mat here, where we can bring our hands crisscross, and we can rest the head, forehead on the arms or across, wherever you feel comfortable. We're going to focus on the legs here now. The legs are about hip width apart. We take a light breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to try and float the right leg off the mat a little bit. As we do so, we're going to push the front of the hips into the mat. The leg is not going to go too high here. We're trying to keep the leg nice and lengthened, so we're trying to stretch the leg away as we float it up and float it back down. Just focusing on the right side here for this first movement as we float the leg up and down to recover. If you can, toes are pointed. We're focusing the movement from the hip joint, and we push the front of the hips gently into the mat just to help keep them locked in place as we float the leg up and down. We'll do one more here on the right side. As we let it come down slowly, we'll let it recover and rest for a moment. And we're switching over to the left side now. If we're ready here, we're going to float the left leg up and then back down. So here, we're not looking for too much speed in these ones. We're looking for nice and slow movements up and down. So it'll help keep the muscle under tension a little bit longer. And it just makes it a little bit more intense for the muscle rather than trying to do fast movements up and down. So we're slowly releasing the leg from the mat. Gently resting the leg back down again. Toes pointed if we can on that left side. Not looking for too much height here. So we're trying to just keep it in about hip height or slightly beyond that, no further. As we control the leg up, control the leg back down. And as you bring the leg back down again, we're going to let it pause and recover. We're going to let ourselves reset for a moment here. And we're going to try and work a double leg movement here now. It's a little more intense in the back. So if this one feels a little bit too much, we'll do one leg at a time and just alternate. Light breath in. Great. Exhale. Gently push the front hips into the mat to keep them locked in, and the legs will float up again as one. Not too high. Back down gently, returning to recover. So it's a light lift here with a double leg if we can. Slowly coming up, slowly coming back down. If this feels a little bit too much, so we can just stay with a single leg, one leg at a time, and we just switch over, alternate the leg lift. So we're going one side at a time. If the double feels okay though, we'll stay with that for a little bit longer as we float them up together, float them back down. Again, we're looking for controlled lifts, slow descents as well back on the mat, so we're keeping the pressure on the muscle a little bit long, with the controlled lift up and down with the legs. We'll do one more here now with that leg lift. And as you come back down again, so let the legs recover for a moment, let them relax. Take the pressure off the hamstrings and that lower back. We're just going to do one more with this set, and we're just going to try and work into our prone beats here with a double leg lift. So what we're looking to do here is float our two legs up again. At the top of the movement, we're going to just shimmy the legs together with little pulses. We're looking for about 10 pulses here if we can before the legs recover and relax. The lift is one from the hip. We're trying to pulse them together and we float back down to recover. This can be done single, so if it is too much on double, we can just do a single leg lift and just try to do little controlled circles instead from the hip before you recover to add a little bit more tension through the muscles. If we can, here we're working into the double leg lift and into the prone beats, pulsing together. If 10 feels a little bit too much, we can just drop down to 5 controlled pulses. We can hold a little bit longer and go 10 to 15 if it feels okay on the lower back area and the hips. If 10 feels enough, we just stay with them. And again, as we rest, we can just rest for a few extra seconds on these if they feel a little bit too quick coming back up. If you need a few extra seconds at the bottom, we just take that little bit more recovery. But we'll do one more here now at the top. And then as you come back down, let the legs rest and recover. I'm just going to just gently bring yourselves back up into the child's pose now. So the hands are coming either side of the mat, and we're just going to gently bring yourself up onto the knees. And we're just sitting back into the hips here. And just trying to let the body recover and lengthen out the arms as well, just to release the shoulders for a few moments here. As you breathe in and breathe out, but just sitting at a comfortable stretch. So if it feels a little bit too much, we can come out of it a little bit. Looking for just a stretch, no pain here on these. Good. So coming to that one there nice and gently. We're going to change around onto the mat now. We're going to bring our back gently on the mat here for a nice little bit. So just going to can rotate around into that supine position here gently, with the head resting on the mat, or you can bring a pillow in here if you need to elevate the head a little bit higher for these ones, whatever you feel comfortable doing. If we're on the mat comfortably now, we're just going to have our feet on the mat together here, hands a little bit away from the sides. We try and release a little bit of the lower back and the back of the hips here now. Light breath in. As we exhale, we'll drop the two knees down to the right side together. As they fall down, we're just trying to keep the shoulders connected to the mat or the neutral position. Fall the knees down as far as they can go to the stretch position, and then as we take a breath in, we'll build the knees back up, and the next exhale will drop down then to the left side as far as they can go. Breath in on the return, exhale as we switch. So we're trying to release the lower back here with our controlled knee movements and lower the back of the hips. They're falling down just their natural stretch point here as the shoulders stay connected to the mat. We're not trying to force beyond the stretch. And we're just trying to open out the hips a little bit, the lower back a little bit with this mobility movement here with the knees controlled down towards the mat and return. So we'll do one more each side here for the right and the left. Building still through the breath under control. And then once you've done one each side and bringing the legs back up to the starting position here, we're just going to let the two legs lengthen out. We're trying to release a little more of the lower back and the hamstrings here with our leg lifts. So try and activate the back leg muscles here, work through the hamstrings. We're trying to work the leg off the mat from the hip. Light breath in here, focus just on the right leg. As we exhale, the right leg is going to float up towards the sky and then return back down on the mat. So as the leg lifts here, we're trying to find the stretch at the top of the movement here, or the back leg area, releasing the hamstrings, and return the leg back down to recover here. Just working up to your stretch point with these, no pain or discomfort. We're trying to help lengthen out and activate the back leg muscles, those hamstrings, with this movement for the right and left side. So we'll do one more here now for the right leg. And as you come back down, we're going to switch over to the left, lifting the left leg up from the hip to the stretch point, return to release and recover. Again, just trying to find the stretch at the top of the movement here with this one. Working just a light stretch, no pain or discomfort with these ones here. So we're just going to the stretch point no further. So left leg comes back down. We'll do one more on the left side just to activate. And as it comes back down, then recover on the mat from that beside the right leg. We're going to work a little bit into those glutes here now and hamstrings. We'll work a little bit into our bridge sequence and try and get still, try and flow a little bit through this movement. We can always rest and come back into these ones as needed. So our feet are going to come on the mat for this one. Feet are about hip width apart, heels of the feet in around the knee joint area, hands are by the side to support the body for this one to start off with. We're trying to work a little bit into our glute bridges here now. So we start off with the breath in. As we breathe out, we try and roll through the hips, tuck the pelvis in, squeeze the muscles together as we build up the bridge. We turn gently. As we come back down, we're trying to let the hips relax all the way back to a natural position before we work into the next one here. So we start the movement off by tucking in the pelvis here, try and just gently squeeze the glute muscles together as we lift. We're not trying to squeeze too hard on these, just light squeeze to help activate the muscles a little bit more. And then float everything back down, releasing everything at the bottom. Trying to roll through the hips here, roll through the spine, build the bridges as far as we can. Ideally, we're looking for the hips to be in line with the knees at the top of the movement. We're just going as far as our muscles can take us. Returning to recover. Again, as you recover, you can take a few moments before we work into the next one here. We don't have to build through continuously. You can have that rest at the bottom if needed here. We'll do a couple more on our double bridges before we move a little bit into single leg work. Good, as we come back down from the bottom here, take a moment, we can stretch out the legs for a few seconds if we need to release those hamstrings and rebuild back in again when we're ready. So we can still feet are hip width apart, heels in around the knee joint area. And we're going to focus on our single bridges here now. We'll try to flow through two on the same side in this video, but you can always rest and come back in if you feel a little bit too much. So our left leg is going to come off the mat at 90 degrees, the right leg is staying on the mat. We'll try and build through the right side. Light breath in, try and roll through the hips again, build the bridge up as far as we can. Squeezing the right side and back down. So our movement is still going to stay the same. We're trying to flow through the hips first, work it out up through the spine as far as we can, building the bridge, returning softly on the mat. As you come down, you can take a moment before we go into the next one. We're just trying to keep the hips nice and stable here, so we're going to keep everything nice and level as we build the bridge up, slowly returning the bridge back down. Working through that right side here now for a little bit, but still working through our same technique. You don't have to go too high in this one, so it feels a little bit intense. We can keep the back on the mat mostly. Just roll through the hips and roll down. We're still going to work the muscles a little bit. Building the bridge a little bit higher if it feels okay. You can try and find our own levels to these ones here. As we come back down here, we're going to just return the left foot on the mat for a moment. We stay with the right side for one more. So try to work a little bit of a holding position now and a little bit more tension on the muscles. So we're going to take the left foot across the right knee for this one here. And we're trying to build the bridge again. We're trying to pause for 5 seconds at the top. We're going to roll through the hips and spine here now, pausing for 5 seconds at the top of the movement. Just trying to add a little bit more tension to the muscles here at the top before we roll back down and release and recover. We build again if we're ready. Roll through the hips and spine up, hold, gently squeezing the right side of the glutes for that 5 second pause at the top of the movement before we return the hips back down now. We'll do 2 more on this side as we build the bridge up again here now if we're ready. Run through the hips and spine, hold it just at a position we can hold. We don't have to hold too high if it feels a little bit too intense. We can drop it lower if needed. And then roll back down to release and recover. Do 1 more on the right side now if we're ready to roll up through the hips and spine. We hold that position at the top again for our last one on that side. And we bring it back down. And our 2 feet are back on the mat. The legs will just lengthen out here for a moment. Fully on the mat, this releases the right side of the hamstring area. And a little bit of the front hip on the left that might have been feels awkward from those holding positions. We're going to try our left side here now for our next 2 sequences. We'll bring our 2 feet back on the mat now and target our left side. Feet are still a little bit apart, heels in around the knee joint area. And the right leg is going to come up now at 90 degrees, so we focus on the left. Light breath in as we exhale. We're going to roll through the hips now again, squeezing the left side as we build the bridge up and we float the hips back down. So we're working through our first movement here. We're going to build through the single bridges here now on the left side, squeeze and release. And again, as we come down, we can take a moment to recover before we build into the next bridge, or we can flow through the movement if it feels okay as we build through the hips and spine, squeeze and return. Again, we don't have to go too high in this one. If it feels a little bit too intense, we're trying to lift as far as the muscles can take us, but we're still staying with that technique by working through the hips, spine, squeezing the left side to keep that to focus. Return to recover and release. We'll do one more on the left side here as we build up. And as we come back down, our 2 feet are just back on the mat. You can even stretch out the left leg for a moment to release the hamstrings if needed on that left side. And if we're ready now, we'll build the 2 feet back in. We're going to try and work our holding position now on the left side. So we can take the right foot across the left knee area here now to help expose the left side. We'll try and hold for the 5 seconds at the top. Breath in if we're ready. Through the exhale, we're going to tuck the pelvis in, roll up, hold in that position again at the top of the movement, just as high as you can hold. And then from there, we're going to just gently, softly bring the leg back down, hips back down to resting position. Breath in again. Through the exhale, we're going to build into our second one here now, rolling through the hips and spine. We're going to hold again at the top for that 5 seconds, and then return gently, recovering back down. We'll do 2 more now on this side. So if we're ready again, breath in. Through the exhale, we'll build up through the hips and spine. We hold again at the top of the movement, and gently return to release and reset. 1 more here on this side. If we're ready now, we'll build through the bridge. Up, we hold at the top of the movement, and then back down to recover gently. 2 feet back on the mat, the legs will lengthen out here fully to recover the hips, to recover the legs. I'm going to release those hamstrings just a little bit here now, just to take the pressure off, just in case they're a wee bit tender. We're focused on the right side here, bring the right leg up off the mat now from the hip, and we're just trying to find our hamstring stretch at the top of the movement here. We can hold the leg for support on this one if we need it. We're just looking for that light stretch at the top of the movement here for the hamstrings, sort of for light pulling sensation where the back knee or the back thigh area and around there. Holding just lightly at the stretch for a few more seconds, and then we'll let it return to recover fully on the mat. We'll switch over now to the left side, bring the left leg up in that stretch position. Again, we can hold the leg for support here if it feels comfortable, or keep it freestanding, whatever suits. Just trying to release the hamstrings down the left side for a few seconds here. And then from there, return to release the leg back down into recovery. 2 legs again. Just pause it on the mat for a moment here. And we're going to work a little bit into our core muscles now, inner supine position here. Again, I'm trying to flow a little bit through these movements in this video, but we can always recover, come back in. We can do 1 round at a time, see how everything is on the body. So we're going to activate the core muscles a little bit here now. So we have our feet on the mat here. Feet are hip width apart. We're just trying to work a little bit into our single leg lifts here into a point to help connect the core. So light breath in here as you breathe out, lower back is gently pressed into the mat to help engage the core. From there, the right leg is going to come up to 90 degrees and the left leg is going to come up to meet it. We're going to try and pause here for a few seconds at the top, 3 to 5 seconds, before we bring the feet down to let the core release. So I'm just trying to keep my core muscles recruited throughout this movement. Lower back is just gently pressed into the mat just to help me engage the core, just lightly holding it. As I bring one leg up, then the other, and I'll feel the core connect a little bit deeper in the holding position for a few seconds, and I return the feet back down, releasing everything to recover at the bottom. So leg lifts about 90 degrees, the other leg will come up with it. We hold for a few seconds at the top, just to get a little bit into the core, bring the feet back down to recover. One leg rises, the other leg comes up to meet it, holding for a few seconds at the top, maintaining that core connection before we bring the feet back down to recover. We'll do 1 more here at the top of the movement if we're ready. Right up, then left up, hold in and return. From there then we release at the bottom. We're going to extend the left leg out here now, and the right leg is going to come up off the mat at about 90 degrees. We're going to hold the leg here for support, so we can hug the knee in over the knee or in on the knee joint if that feels more comfortable. We're going to work a little bit of their single leg switches here now. We're trying to engage the core through the switch of the leg. So light breath in again through the exhale. I'm trying to recruit my core by just gently pressing the lower back into the mat. And I'm going to hold that as I switch the leg. One leg is going to go out slowly, the other leg is coming in. We're trying to maintain core connection. From there, when I'm ready to go again, I will switch again. So we can do these 1 at a time. We can release the core and recover, and then we can switch again when we're ready, or we can flow through the movement 1 switch at a time, keeping that core connected, trying to engage a little bit deeper with every switch if we can, get deeper into the core. We can intensify the core a little bit more by lifting the head up off the mat, chin towards the chest in these ones. We're looking for slow, controlled switches of the legs here. So we're not trying to go fast with this one, because sometimes we'll lose the core. We're trying to keep the core the focus, keeping the squeeze, and we're trying to squeeze a little bit more with every leg switch here. So we're going deeper into the core with every switch of the leg. But again, one at a time. If that feels enough, we can just pause, release the core, rebuild in when we're ready, or rest for a few moments and come back into this one if it feels a little bit too long. We'll do a couple more leg switches here under control. And then from there now, we bring our 2 knees in towards the body, head back down. We're going to just rock the knees side to side, just allow the lower back to release a little bit and switching off the core muscles for a few seconds. We'll stay in this position for our next one here now. We'll try and work into our double leg switch from here now. So we're holding the knees in a hugging position if we're ready. Light breath in. Gently squeezing the core, lower back is gently pressing the mat to recruit the core first. And we'll try and extend the legs out over the mat, arms over the head, keeping the connection of the core. And we scoop the hands and knees back in together. And once we return, we can recover and pause for a moment and rebuild into the next one when ready. So the further our legs extend out here, the more pressure is going to be on the core. We want to keep the core the focus. So if you find your lower back shooting off the mat as you go out, you're just going to have to go a little bit less on the way out. We want to keep the focus on the core and not the lower back. If double feels a little bit too much, we can do one leg with the 2 hands instead and alternating through if that feels enough for the core at this point. Or if the double leg stretch is okay, we can lift the head up off the mat, chin towards the chest in these ones, just to intensify the core a little bit more as we control out, control back in. Again, as we return, we can recover for a few moments before we work into the next one, if needed here. Do a couple more here through these ones here, either that single on pause or flowing through from one to the next. Trying to keep the connection on the core though as we go out and in. As the hands and knees meet each other again, we're going to pause again, rocking the knees side to side for a few moments here, just to recover, releasing the lower back. From there we'll pause, bringing the feet back on the mat, about hip width apart, hands are barred to side here now. So just going to work a little bit into your 100s just to finish our core sequence. We're going to hold this one for a little bit of time here as we focus on breathing in and out. If it feels a little bit too long, then we can rest and come back in. We start with the feet on the mat, we can build the legs off the mat then if we can. Light breath in now. As we exhale, we're going to lift the head up off the mat, we're tucking the chin in towards the chest, keep the tension off the neck, arms are going to rise, and we're trying to work through that lower back press into the mat. Through this one, keep the core connected, and then we're trying to keep the arm pulses then at a good tempo. Keeping the arm pulses slower though if this feels a little bit awkward at high speeds, and just trying to build into it if we can. Working from the shoulder with ease. If this feels okay, we can lift the legs up off the mat 90 degrees, make it a little bit more intense for the core. Trying to keep the core connected though as you breathe in and out gently. Legs can extend over the mat if you need to intensify this a little bit deeper, but again, we're not trying to lose the core here, so we're trying to keep the core the focus, keeping that squeeze as we work through the pulses here. Take small steps there, in and out. So we're almost there with these last few seconds now, trying to keep it going for a few more seconds. Last 3, 2, and 1. Again, we'll come in, hands, knees in towards the chest, hands on the knees, will rock side to side, just to allow the lower back to release for a few moments here. Well done. And then from there, we're going to pause, let the legs fully extend out on the mat for a few seconds. We'll release the core and release the hips. Good. So I'm going to work a little bit into our stretch and recovery piece here. Now just try and stretch and recover the body a little bit more, and try to let everything relax a little bit at the end. So try and release a little bit off our lower back here now. We're going to take the right leg up off the mat. We're going to hug the leg in towards the body. So we're trying to bring the thigh area in towards the body here to help release a little bit of the lower back hip area. And it's going to be a hold and stretch as the leg comes in. We're just looking for this hold and stretch, so if it feels a little bit too intense, we can relax the leg out a little bit. We're just trying to come in, holding this one for a few moments. So each one's going to be a holding one here now for a little bit of time. We're trying to hold just the stretch point, so no pain or discomfort with ease. And then from there, we're going to relax this right leg out a little bit. So we're going 90 degree sort of position with the leg, and we're just going to take your right leg over across to the left side here now to release that right side of the back. So as it comes across, trying to keep the shoulders connected to the mat, And we're coming across to your stretch point only. Left hand can be under the right leg for support here if needed. If the stretch feels a little bit too intense, just relax the right side of the hip back towards the mat. It'll take some of the stretch away. Again, we're trying to come across to a hold and stretch position for a few moments. Just trying to release that right side of the back area out. And from there then, we'll gently bring it back, slowly on the mat, and the right leg is going to just extend fully out on the mat here for a moment. Let that side release and recover. And we're going to go over now to our left side with those two movements. So our first one again is going to gently bring the left leg up in towards the body. We'll hug the thigh area in towards the body again, with hands either in under the knee or over the knee, wherever you feel comfortable. We're just coming into your own stretch point though. If it feels a little bit too intense, you can relax the leg a little bit further away from the body. This one here is just a comfortable hold and stretch for a few moments here. Just a stretch, no pain or discomfort. And then from there, relax that left leg out a little bit, again about 90 degrees position. And the left leg is now going to gently come over across to the right side, just release the left side of the back out a little bit into the hold and stretch. Right hand can be under the left leg for support here. We're just going to come across again, just your stretch point. So if it feels a little bit too much, we can relax the left hip back towards the mat a little bit, take some of the stretch away. Shoulders again as best we can are staying connected to the mat, which will help us get into that stretch a little bit quicker. And then from there now, we'll just gently bring the left leg back on the mat. And we'll extend the left leg out fully on the mat again, beside the right, just letting the hips and spine to reset for a moment. So from here, we're going to work a little bit into the glutes and hips. So we'll bring the feet on the mat here now. Feet are about hip width apart, and we'll work the glute max stretch, a little bit lower back as well with this one. So we take the right foot across the left knee area. And then once we're there, we're going to bring the left thigh in towards the body a little bit. We're looking for a stretch now in the back of the right hip area, the glute max, a little bit into the lower back in this hold and stretch. I'm just going to find the stretch point and hold the position. So you can lift the left leg off the mat and in, holding the left leg for support with hands if it's comfortable, or if it feels enough for you with the left foot on the mat, we can stay there. You try to bring your thigh area in towards the body a little bit to get the stretch on the right side. And again, we try to pause at the stretch position, no pain or discomfort. So if it feels a little bit too much, we relax the left leg further down on the mat, and that'll take some of the stretch away on the right. From here now, we're going to gently come out of that one there. 2 feet are going to return to the mat, back to the starting position. Let's let them reset for a moment. And we're going to go to the other side now here to release that left glute. So the left foot is going to come across the right knee if we're ready. And then from there, the right thigh is going to come in towards the body a little bit. Where again, we can lift the right leg off the mat and in. We can hold the right leg with the hands for support, or the right foot can stay on the mat if that's enough for the stretch on the left side. We're just trying to find the stretch now in the back left hip area. I'm going to hold that stretch position here for a few moments. Again, just a comfortable stretch, so it feels a little too much. We're going to relax the right foot further on down the mat to take some of the stretch away on that left side if needed here. Just find the stretch, no pain, for a few more seconds. And then from there, we'll gently come back out of that, or 2 feet are back on the mat. I'm just going to stretch a little bit of the outside of the hips here now. So we're going to take the right foot again across the left knee area, working our glute medius stretch in the outer right hip joint. For this one again, we're going to come into the hold and stretch, but just a stretch. So our right foot will be our guide here. Shoulders will still stay on the mat. We'll just bring the right foot down to the left side a little bit. As it comes down, we're trying to find the stretch in the outer right hip area. We're going to hold that stretch here for a little bit. If you need, you can have your left hand on the left leg just to add a little bit extra support here as we're working away, just to find the stretch on that right side, no pain. Just holding that stretch point here for a few moments to release the outer glutes on that right side. And then from there, we'll just gently bring the hips back to the starting position. Right foot is going to return on the mat. And then we'll go to the other side here now with the left foot coming across the right knee area. And then once we're there, the left foot's going to come down to the right side, shoulders still connecting to the mat. And we're just trying to find the outer left hip stretch here now. And we can hold again the right leg with the right hand out, or right leg just to support this one a little bit if needed. Or just coming across to your stretch point, holding the stretch for a few moments just to release that outer left hip area. And then from there, we'll just gently bring the hips back on the mat. Left foot is going to come back on the mat again. It's going to go inside the hips here now. The soles of the feet are going to come together. The two knees are going to drop down either side. We're just trying to find the stretch inside the hips in the groin area. I'm going to hold that stretch point. But again, we're trying to relax to the stretch only, so it feels a little bit too much. We just bring it back a little bit, the knees coming closer together. Just trying to open out into the stretch point here for a few seconds. And then from there, we're going to just gently bring the knees back together out of that stretch. Legs are going to lengthen out fully on the mat again here. The hips take a moment just to recover, sets, especially the front of the hips. We've changed position on the mat here now just for the last couple of stretches here. So we're trying to stretch these sort of core muscles out now. We're going to bring ourselves face down on the mat here now. So we're just gently turn ourselves right around into our prone positions, taking our time as we switch around here. We're lying face down on the mat, and once we're here, the two hands will be either side of the body. We're going to use the hands to help peel the head and chest up off the mat for this one. So we're going to just gently rise the head and chest up slowly. And we're just looking to find the stretch point at the top. Hold it for a couple of seconds before we bring the body back down and recover out of that stretch. So this one here is moving into the stretch point, head rises, working a little bit through the chest up to your own stretch point here, just to stretch, no pain or discomfort, especially waxing the lower back on this one. Hold it for a few seconds before you really turn to release and recover. Just going to go 2 more on this one here to help release the core a little bit more. Rising up to that stretch point, holding for a few seconds, returning to recover. Last one as you rise. And here at the top here, so I hold for a few extra seconds at the top. Just get a little bit more into the stretch if we can. And then from there, we're going to gently come back down. We're going to come up into our child's pose here now. So we get hands on the mat. We're going to bring ourselves up onto your knees, sitting back into the hip area. Just arms lengthen for a moment, just to release the back out. And then we hit during our cobra stretch there. And then we're going to release a little bit of the side of the back muscles out. Now just going to take the arms and the head and shoulders. We're walking across to the right side a little bit. Coming across, you feel the stretch under the left arm. I'm going to pause once you feel that stretch, no further. Holding the stretch point for a few seconds just to help release the left side of the back out. And then from there, the hands will come back into the center position. We'll walk them then across together with the head and shoulders to that left side. Find the stretch onto the right arm, holding that stretch point for a few moments to release that side out. And then coming back in. Hands into that center position, arms just going to lengthen out fully into the mat, just to find a stretch across the shoulders. Really just sit back and we're focused on a few deep breaths in and out here now, trying to relax deeper into this position every time. As we're going to hold here, just release a little bit more of the back and the arms. Just at a comfortable position for you here as you breathe in and out. Deep breaths into the nose, long exhales out through the mouth. Every breath out, you're trying to relax more into that stretch. Try to get more into it every time for a few more seconds here. And then from there, just gently bring the hands back in a little bit and we'll come back out gently, back up out of that, and that is us complete.